All right, today we are here to talk about the Magpul Hunter line. The Hunter line came out in 2014 with the original Hunter stock for the Remington 700 short action. And what we were trying to do with that gun was take the features on much more expensive chassis that were on the market at the time. You didn't have all the options you had today. And we were really taking a look at like the original AICS system, which was a really popular precision stock to this day for the Remington 700, and find a way to get all those features in a more compact, hunting-oriented stock where you still had the performance you got of some of those high-end chassis. So in 2014, we released that Remington 700 Hunter stock, and it had a lot of really unique stuff at its price. We had adjustable length of pull, adjustable comb height, a ton of sling mounting options, and a cast aluminum bedding block that drew the action down in and had contact on both sides and gave you a really stable platform for mounting the action and usually improved the accuracy over the factory stock. It was immediately successful. You could put detachable bottom metal on it. So you had the option of keeping like a factory BDL floor plate or converting it to a detachable box magazine that accepted AICS pattern mags to include the Magpul PMag AC series. And it really gave you a ton of performance at a price that was in the same line as some hunting stocks. So the 700 short action Hunter was immediately successful, and we followed it up with a long action version, which was just a matter of stretching the chassis, making a couple more injection molded parts. And then for the guys that shot Magnum cartridges, 30-06 base cartridges, you had an option for that too, where you got that same performance for long action cartridges. Following those two Remington 700 fitments, we released the Hunter X22 for Ruger 1022 pattern guns. Again, immediately successful because you got all those features at a really attractive price. Adjustable comb height, adjustable length of pull, rubber butt pad, M-lock mounting options on the front, footman's loop on the rear, the ability to put QD sockets on it, and the ability to take a bull barrel or a standard contour barrel. So pretty much any 1022 out there, you had a really good option to improve the performance, the ergonomics, and it would fit most of the aftermarket accessories. From there, we started to see kind of a change in the bolt gun market where we were moving away from some of the Remington 700 pattern guns, and you started to see some brand new platforms that got a lot of steam really quick. The Ruger American is a great example that really took off for the Hunter line and was immediately really well received by the market. There weren't as many options out there compared to the 700. And we immediately saw the sales of that go through the roof, and we kept expanding the line. Savage 110 came next. You know that gun's been around for decades and decades, and there's a ton of them on the market. And again, you got that really attractive option with all those features at a really competitive price. And then the latest one is the Ruger American for Stanag magazines. Ruger came out with a version of the Ruger American that took AR pattern mags. So it took that standard Ruger American chassis and it came with a new set of bottom metal that would take AR mags. And with that, we've got a lot of the market covered for a lot of really popular guns to give you really good options at a really attractive price. So the heart of the centerfire Hunter stock is the cast A380 bedding block. I've got one pulled out here. We don't recommend you pull yours out. It's a lot of fasteners, it goes together a certain way, and it never needs to come out of your stock. But you can see here it actually extends all the way down into the grip, into the beginning of the stock, and goes about 3 inches forward of the recoil lug. You've got a pocket for the recoil lug here. It's a little bit different on the Ruger American, but it's still got the recoil lugs in there that were designed by the factory. And you can see the V channel, all right? And what that does when you tighten up the action bolts, draws the action down and you get contact on both sides, sinks it into that V block for really consistent bedding. It doesn't move around in the stock. So all you've got to do when you get your Hunter stock, take your barreled action, drop it into the V channel of the bedding block, seat your recoil lug, and tighten your action screws to the prescribed torque specs. You're going to get an improvement in accuracy and consistency in your gun, and you're going to get the rigidity you probably don't have in your factory stock. All right, so we're going to take a look at some of those common features. It's a big list, but something that was really important to us is the adjustable length of pull and adjustable comb height. So we borrowed the architecture from the SGA stock for the 870 and the Mossberg 500, carried it forward into the Hunter stock. All you do is remove a screw on the buttstock, and that gives you access to the comb height and length of pull adjustment. Length of pull is on an I-beam, and all you do is remove the spacers, add or subtract as needed, put the I-beam back in, put the screw back in. It's a really intuitive system. It's very easy to use, and you get 13 to 15 inches of adjustment. So short, tall, doesn't really matter. We got a really wide span of adjustment for length of pull using that spacer system. Same mechanism also gives you access to the cheek risers. So it comes with a flush one that we call basically a zero height, and it goes to 0.75 inches in quarter-inch increments. All you do is pop the old one off, rock a new one on, reinstall everything, and tighten the screws down. It's a really quick system to use. That way, if you got an optic with a larger objective housing, taller rings, shorter rings, wherever your optic falls on your receiver, we've got an option to give you the right comb height. Right, one of the other great features of the Hunter line is for all the centerfire cartridges, you've got the option of detachable bottom metal. So we've got the bolt action magazine well. Now if you have a Savage or a Ruger American, either the standard or Stanag model, it will come in the box with the bolt action magazine well. You have to have them to use the Hunter stock. If you're a Remington user, you've got the option of using the factory BDL sling down floor plate. So if you've already got one, you can just move that bottom metal over to the Hunter stock. But if you want to convert it to a detachable magazine, you buy the bolt action magazine well. It comes with the appropriate magazine too, and it's a direct replacement. You pop out a small spacer, pop this guy in there, and you convert your 700 to a detachable magazine. So one of the other things that's common to all of the Hunter stocks is a great way to mount your slings, which is something that doesn't exist on a lot of hunting stocks. You might get a stud or two in the front and a stud in the rear. Not a lot of good ways to mount the sling on the side or use QD cups. So we thought that through. Carrying over the rear from the SGA line gave us a lot of options for slings on the rear. You've got a footman's loop on either side, and then you've got sockets. They come capped, but you pop them out, and you can put a QD cup in either side or both if you want to, using our Type 1 and Type 2 sling cups. The other thing with M-LOK, any sling mount for M-LOK will bolt right up to this guy, be it on the bottom, on either side, footman's loop, QD cups. So if you're an Uncle Mike stud user, be it to mount a bipod or a sling, there's two mounting points on the front on either side of the M-LOK slots and one on the rear, and you can use the self-tapping Uncle Mike screws to put sling studs on the front and rear of the stock also. So you've pretty much got any way you want to mount a sling. One of the other things we wanted to have a lot of options for was how you mount the bipod on the gun. On a lot of hunting stocks, you don't have many options. You may have the stud on the front. So we give you the option of two studs, one for a bipod and one for a sling. And then you've got M-LOK slots that you can direct mount a bipod to, or you can put an M-LOK bipod mount on. So almost any bipod on the market you can adapt to this gun, be it pick rail, Uncle Mike stud, M-LOK, or even a short Arca rail if you wanted to. Another feature you get on every Hunter stock is a non-slip rubber butt pad. On the centerfire versions, you'll see it's a little bit thicker. It won't slide around regardless of temperature, if it's hot, if it's cold, no matter what clothing you're wearing, no matter the environment. The butt pad stays soft and pliable, gives you some recoil absorption, and it won't slide around when you mount the rifle. On the rimfire stocks, it's a little bit thinner, but it's the same material, and that ensures that solid grip on your shoulder. All right, last but not least, we've got barrel contours. So regardless of the centerfire stock you buy, you may have a factory sporter with a super light contour. You may get another variant of the same gun that's got a really thick barrel on it. So all of the centerfire Hunter stocks will accept up to a medium Palma contour barrel. So you can put a pretty good sized barrel on it and still have plenty of clearance. It's still free floated. It's not going to touch. For the rimfire version specifically, cool thing, we've got a reversible barrel tray. So you undo 3 screws, you pop out this tray. Whether you've got the factory lightweight barrel or a bull barrel for the 1022, it'll drop right in there and fit perfect. All right, so those are the features and benefits of the Magpul Hunter line, regardless of if it's a centerfire stock or a rimfire. You pull your factory stock off, you're going to get more rigidity, a more consistent bedding platform, a lot more features, the ability to fit the gun to you regardless of your size, the ability to attach a detachable box magazine and feed your gun more efficiently, attach slings, attach bipods, a lot of stuff that you don't get in a stock that's not fully featured and up into that $1,000 price category.